In this video, I'll be discussing Program 13, Volume of a Cylinder, which demonstrates how to write a program to solve a math problem. Let's take a look at a question that I think everyone can easily understand and then write a program to solve it for us. The main question for this video is, how many total blocks fit inside the sphere? First thing to know is that the radius, which is the distance from the outside to the center, is 5 blocks. Therefore, from one end of the sphere to the opposite end is 10 blocks. This is known as the diameter. The formula for the volume of a sphere, which is the total amount of space inside, is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. The radius cubed is just radius times radius times radius. When you square a number, it is the number times the number again. So 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. When you cube a number, it's the number times the number times the number. Therefore, 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. A quick note about math formulas. When numbers and symbols are written next to each other, it means to multiply them together. The dot here also means multiply. So looking at the formula, 4/3 is easy, and radius cubed is easy. But what about pi? Pi is a special number that begins 3.14159 and then continues without repeating. So where does pi come from? If you take a circle that has a diameter of 1 unit, such as 1 inch, then the distance around the outside of the circle is pi, which is 3.14159, and so on, and it continues forever. So now that we understand all the pieces of the formula, let's write a Java program that calculates the volume of a sphere based on the radius. The only missing piece in this formula is the radius, so we need to prompt the user asking for the radius. In the previous video, we learned about using the scanner class to prompt for user input. This is what the code would look like using the scanner class to ask the user to enter the radius of a sphere. And now with the radius stored in this double variable called radius, we could do a simple version of the formula, 4 divided by 3 times an approximate value of pi, 3.14159, times the radius times the radius times the radius, or radius cubed. If we want our formula to be more exact, instead of using approximation for pi, we can use the Java math class. So just do math dot and then pi, which is a built-in variable supplied by the math class in Java. And then instead of doing radius times radius times radius or radius cubed, we can also again use the math class and do math dot pow, which stands for power, and it's the first value raised to the second value power. So the radius to the third power would give us the radius cubed. And one thing to note is in an earlier video we talked about integer division. An integer divided by an integer results in an integer. So 4 divided by 3 would result in 1, but we want this to be 1.33. So we need to have at least one of these to be a double, so that a double divided by an integer will result in a double. So if we want to just make one of these a double or both of them a double, that way we won't end up with an approximation here. This would be a more Java fancier way of calculating the volume of a sphere. So now if I save this and we run it, we can actually get the answer to our problem. So enter the radius of a sphere, which is 5. So the volume, or the number of cubes inside of that image, is 523.59. So if we look at the image again, how many total blocks fit inside the sphere? The answer, 523.59. Now for program 13, the objective is to do something similar. Let's take a look at the instructions. So instead of finding the volume of a sphere, the title of the program is Volume of a Cylinder, and the objective is to create a program that displays the volume of a cylindrical fuel tank. The formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi times r squared times the height. So if pi is 3.14159 and continues on forever without repeating, and r is the radius of the tank, which is the distance from the center to the outside, and h is the height of the tank, which is how high the tank is, we can prompt the user for the height of the tank and the radius of the tank, and then output the volume as shown. Enter the height of the cylindrical fuel tank, 10, and enter the radius of the cylindrical fuel tank, 5. Then the volume of the cylindrical fuel tank with height 10 and radius 5 is 785.398 and so on. As always, to begin working on this program, first create a new workspace for program 13. By following the instructions in my video with the title create a new programming project, or watching the solution to Program 2. To view additional materials and the solution code for this program, visit the Java in a Jiffy website at www.javainajiffy.com/programs/13. Once you have completed this program, watch my solution video where I discuss the solutions code and highlight any important concepts and techniques. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button. To help support this channel, please click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.